Hi, and welcome to the Digital Freedom Coach podcast with me, Erik Olsson. Here, we go in depth and talk about how you can use digital tools to create more freedom in your life. Are you, as me, curious about how you can work remotely, how you can build a business online, and what it actually takes to create the life of your dreams? Then this is the podcast for you. For more info on what we do, check out thedigitalfreedomcoach.com. Hi guys, how you doing? I hope you're rocking it. I hope you're thriving. I hope 2021 you set your plans, you're ready for action, you're taking action, you're being proactive. Today I want to go into a special topic of mine. Today I want to share something about phone phobia and some of my personal experiences. And now maybe you can relate. I think you can. If you're listening to this podcast, The Digital Freedom Coach, that possibly means you are about to set up a business, you are into business building, you want to expand possibly, possibly you like at the beginning phase of building your business, and something is holding you back, something is keeping you stuck in a sense. Okay, so that might be, it can be something else, but it might be phone phobia as well, right? So something that is kind of, you're not getting loose, like you are kept stuck. So what is phone phobia actually? And I can relate. I will share my story here because I think I've had it for maybe 20 plus years, right? So I think I had it for 20 plus years, and it's been something I almost grew up with. And I think one of the core reasons for that is that when I meet someone, I really prefer to actually physically meet them and like see their facial expressions, getting to know them, and also kind of before we go into the topic of the day or the agenda, if we even have an agenda, is to kind of just get to know that person, right? So one of the best things I know to do is to meet a good friend. We go out, we have something to drink, we chat about this and that, and maybe we have like a topic we want to share and talk about, but specifically we're kind of just meeting to hang out. Okay, so that's where I come from. That is what I prefer. And then I also know that when I meet someone, I kind of want to spend some time together, right? That can be like 20 minutes, it can be like an hour chatting, hanging out. And then afterwards, and in that sense, you also build a relationship, right? You get to know that person really well. And regarding the phone, for me, it's always been very impersonal. It's like very impersonal. If I call someone, I can only hear the tonality of their voice, and that is the only thing I have to go on when I want to talk about different things. So, and furthermore, it's very difficult over the phone to get to know another person because I don't have the facial expressions. For me, it's sort of a handicap. It's an issue. It's more difficult to get to know that person just over the phone. And also over the phone, I feel I want to get to the topic as fast as possible. Right, so if I call someone, I want to talk about the specific thing, and that's kind of the nature of a phone call. So I want to talk with someone, I want to get to the topic, I want to get to some sort of conclusion and have a result, and preferably have like a short call as well, like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And that is very different from how I interact with people like in real life. When I meet someone and we hang out and we chat a bit, and then maybe we go to the core topic after 40 minutes or something. More like a chill way of hanging out, right? Can you see the difference? Can you hear the difference here in how you use these tools? And I will also share something because I think this is an important part of why I've had phone phobia. I have a difficulty in talking with people over the phone. So I've had a few sort of long distance relationships. Okay, I remember I lived in Taiwan for 1 year. I lived in Taiwan for 1 year, and then I lived in Japan, I lived in Spain, and so on. So I ended up with like specifically like 2 occasions where I had like these long-term relationships. I had a girlfriend in Taiwan, I lived in Sweden. At another occasion, I also had a girlfriend in Taiwan actually, and I lived in Sweden, like 2 separate occasions, right? And then my girlfriend moved back to her home country in Mexico, and I lived in Sweden. And that was also going on for a while. And for me, it's been very difficult to build that relationship over the phone because, and remember, this was kind of pre-Zoom, pre-FaceTime era as well. So I always felt that, okay, I don't want to talk over the phone, I want to be there. Right? Maybe you can relate. Maybe it's like, okay, so for instance, another scenario, right? Another topic entirely. I love adventure, right? So I love to, hike in the mountains, but I don't really like to read about hiking in the mountains. You see the difference? I want to do it. I want to be in the action. I don't want to read about it. Okay, so that's kind of a different thing, but it's still similar, right? So I kind of want to be with the person rather than talking over the phone. It feels like it's not real somehow. Okay, so I think honestly that also hurt the relationships I was in because it made it difficult to build those relationships. It made it difficult to grow in those relationships. And business-wise, for a long time, this wasn't an issue. Okay, so for a long time that wasn't an issue. I realized I had some sort of phone phobia. I hated to use the phone. If someone called me, often I didn't even pick up. It has been quite difficult to get hold of me, right? And one part of this is also, I think, some sort of fear of reaction. It's in a fear of, if I can't read other person's facial expressions and I can't be there, maybe I'm gonna say something, they will react, maybe something will happen. I have to be to the point, and maybe I don't even really know what my point is. Maybe my agenda is sort of confused, right? So you have to be so super structured somehow. So for me, it's been very difficult to talk over the phone. I don't know if you can relate, like my dear listener, right? But maybe you do. So something changed, okay? Something changed because just a few months ago, I got this opportunity to work for a while with the Spanish company. Okay, so I worked for a Spanish company. What did we do? We did telemarketing, right? So we did telemarketing. Essentially, we called people over the phone and we tried to sell certain services. Okay, so I came from a background with phone phobia. I began to work with the Spanish company doing telemarketing where I had to call people. Okay, that's interesting. How did I end up in that situation? And that is one thing, right? So I hope, like my dear listener, that you can sort of, okay, so something happened here, right? And how do you actually tackle that situation? And I think maybe one of the reasons why I actually wanted to do this job is to challenge my phone phobia, to expand, right? And I'm going to take you like further back, like for a few years back, when I began to work in network marketing as well. So in network marketing, basically you build networks, right? You get to know people, you see what they are interested in, what you're curious about. You really have to care about people. You really have to build relationships. Like that is key. That is basically the only way you can also help and serve someone if you know them, right? And one of the first things they told me is to, okay, you need to use the phone, you need to make calls, you need to see what, family or friends or colleagues or acquaintances or people what they might be interested in. Maybe you can help them out and so on, right? So what I did was I got home, I set up my phone list, and I realized, one, I don't really have any phone numbers. I can't call anyone anymore. People don't use the phone. Two, even if I call people, I would be super terrified of what to say, how to do it, and how to go about it. It's easy to tell someone else what to do, but if you're going to do it yourself, that's another thing, right? So I was super terrified. So I tried to make a few calls. If they didn't, pick up the phone, I was super glad that they didn't, so I could hang up again. But what I want to say, the point being that my business got hurt, right? My business got stuck in a sense. So what I did was to expand on social media where I could write things. I felt in writing I could express myself in another way. Like I felt I had more freedom, I could be more comfortable, I could be myself, and that is all fine and well. So I've done that, I did that, I'm still doing it. But the thing with phone calls is it's another tool you can use in your toolbox. Okay, so if you're building your business, I would argue you really need to know how to talk over the phone, right? You need to know how to talk over the phone. That's another tool in your toolbox. If you can master that skill, it's a shortcut. It's a shorter way to reach your goals, to achieve your goals. Makes sense? So that was what I was facing. So that's the background I came from. I had this phone phobia. I realized I need to conquer that phobia. I need to make calls. So I was working with a Spanish company, and we did about 200 to 300 phone calls a day. 200 to 300 phone calls a day. Bam, 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 bam. Calling all the time. Most people didn't even pick up. Some picked up. Some people, many people weren't interested at all. Some were more interested. But, step by step, I was conquering this fear. I was doing it. To my help, I had like a short script. I knew sort of what to say and how to do it. So I will share something here, my dear listener, right? So the thing about making a phone call, like the step-by-step process, obviously you need to call, you need to be prepared, you need to know the names of the people you are about to call, you need to have a way of reaching them. And people don't really have phone numbers these days, not in Sweden anyway. It's difficult to get hold of people. What you can have is, you can have phone numbers. If you have the phone number, you can also call on WhatsApp. If you're using Messenger, you can call on Messenger. You can call on FaceTime. You can use a Zoom call. I mean, there are so many ways these days to actually make that call. So it's easier and it gets easier, right? And then you need to prepare, you need to have the names, you need to know how to call them. And then when you call them, you sort of introduce yourself and hopefully already know them to some extent. And then I would say like the first part is actually to build rapport. Like the first part is actually to connect again, right? To connect to another human being. That's it. Be human when you call people. So that would mean, so you reconnect, you talk about anything like family, friends, travels, health, fitness, whatever makes you tick, right? Whatever connects you to that person. And then after a while, and that can be after 2 minutes or 5 minutes, but don't let it go too long, okay? So after, those initial few minutes, then you get to the point. So then you reconnect to the topic, you reconnect to the agenda, right? So the reason I wanted to call you is that you remember when we spoke about health or fitness, or I remember you talked about traveling a lot. I remember you kind of wanted to become a digital nomad, okay? And then you go into the topic, and then you just see and ventilate. You see if they're still curious to know what you have to offer of your services, or maybe your product even. And if they are curious and interested, then you go into that track. You take that path. Make sense? If they're not, then you leave that be. You let go and then you can chat a bit more, and then you close the call. If they're curious and interested, okay, then you book a follow-up meeting. That's it. And then next meeting, maybe that is with a Zoom or a FaceTime or a WhatsApp call, like with video, right? So you're kind of leveling up. So you decide, my fellow listener, you are the boss. If you have a phone phobia, or if you have a phobia and that is limiting your business, I think it's crucial to actually overcome that phobia. Right? Makes sense? And to challenge yourself. If you feel like challenge, if you have a fear, that is a good thing. Congratulations. If you feel like, I want to do this, I have fear, I cannot do this, I have all these thoughts in my mind, I have that little voice, I have that pre-transformative chatter in my head, congratulations, that is awesome. That is one of the best things you can experience. That means you have an opportunity to expand your comfort zone to get new results. And that is what we want to achieve, because you see, when you're able to make those phone calls, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 calls, you will shortcut any process. Rather than messaging people for forever and ever, you can just talk to them, be human. And that, I think that is relevant in any business, right? If you want to become a digital coach, want to become a digital nomad, and you want to expand and break free, you need to learn how to communicate with people in a human way, and the best way of doing that is usually to meet that person. And if you can meet that person physically, okay, make a phone call. It's so easy when you get into it, right? So I would like to challenge you, my dear listener. I would like to challenge you, and I would like you to make 10 calls. I would like you to make 10 calls. I would like you to write down names of people you want to call, and also prepare how are you going to call these people. Over the phone, FaceTime, Zoom, WhatsApp, over Messenger. And it can be in any area, really, right? It can be business, maybe it's like a relationship. You want to reconnect with someone you haven't talked to for a long time. Maybe you want to reconnect with the good old friend you haven't talked with for a while. You know, that phone call, if it's just 2 minutes, 5 minutes, it's worth way more than sending messages. Because, you know, talking with someone for 5 minutes, that's worth 1,000 messages, right? You get another feeling for that person. So I want to conclude today's episode about phone phobia and conquering your fears with, you know, sharing, where's my phone phobia now? Is it gone? Do you think it's gone? my dear listener, looking for that digital freedom, is my phone phobia gone? No, it's not gone. It's still there. It's diminished. It's a bit less than it used to be, but it's still there. So how do I continue to conquer that fear? The answer is continuity, right? I need to use the phone frequently, otherwise I will lose it. So my goal for this week is to actually make four calls a day, right? In my area of my business. Okay, so 4 calls a day, and in that sense, I will conquer my fear. I will keep it down. I will keep that like wall down, and I will continue to build my business. It's like going to the gym. You need to use that muscle over and over and over and over again, right? So I will end today's episode. Don't forget those 10 calls. And if you want, you can share that in, wherever, like send me an email or follow me on social media and share there my comments. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and so on, right? So with that said, I want to wish you a powerful day, a powerful week. Be bold, be massive, be magnificent. Talk soon, and let's go for it. All in. Action, action, action. Bye-bye. Cheers.